Ladies and sinners, welcome to another Tuesday evening edition of the Sin City Sports Show, presented by ID Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your host, Cale Henderson. You guys can get at us on our Twitter forums, at SinCity_IESR, at Cale_Henderson is my personal, where I talk all things sports, anything I want, really, because it's my personal. But we are a Vegas show. We're IE Vegas, where we talk about the fastest growing sports market in America. And if you don't believe me, look at all the teams trying to come here. It's getting huge. Absolutely massive. And it's a blast. It's a blast covering Vegas. It's a blast covering sports. And I can't tell you guys, I apologize for the late start. I am a football coach. I coach for a new high school. We have a building that is not quite ready yet because the district I coach for hasn't quite finished the construction process, and it's not deemed safe to have practice there. So we're needing to practice at another facility, which means we practice at a later time. So I do apologize. I came back as soon as possible. It's going to be like this probably next week as well for next Tuesday's practice. But our next Tuesday's show, I would say 9:30 is a pretty good start time for the next couple weeks, and I'll keep you guys posted as the season goes. But as we get into the regular season, our regular show, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, should be no issue at all. Just giving you a heads up, I apologize for that, but yeah, I am a member of my community. I love coaching the sport of football, and that's why we're a little late getting on today. Make sure you guys tune in every Tuesday evening, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and you guys can listen to us on Spreaker Podcast, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Good Pods, CastBox, Deezer, Podcast Addict, and Podchaser. For any show, if you want to review any show with the Sin City Sports Show, please tune in there, where we are ready to go. We're ready to talk about Vegas sports. And when I say we're ready to talk about Vegas sports, we're going to kick it off with the hot team in Vegas right now. And that would be the Las Vegas Lady Aces. The Lady Aces are 19-2. And honestly, they're absolutely molly-whopping teams in the WNBA right now. For example, they beat the Storm a few days ago, 105-64. Liberty was just apologies. The Sparks 97-78. Mercury 98-72. Lynx 113-89. I mean, they're just absolutely molly-whopping teams. The Sun 102-84. Connecticut Sun are a really good team, and the fact that they're able to do that is incredible. The power rankings are pretty simple. Vegas is on top. And honestly, the next best team in the Western Conference is 7 games back. So Vegas, honestly, is a better team this year than what they were last year. And they're the defending champs. And there's nobody really in this Western Conference via an upset or injury that seems to be able to compete right now. The Wings and the Sun are the only two losses for the Lady Aces. And if I remember correctly, the Wings and the Sun are both in the Eastern Conference. They're both in the Eastern Conference. Lady Aces have a clear road to another championship game. And I'll say it like this, another championship series, I should say. And I'll say it like this. And Davidson, thank you so much for tuning in, man. You're the resident basketball guy. I don't know if there's a better team basketball than Las Vegas Lady Aces right now. Both, NBA, WNBA, yes, I understand. NBA players would absolutely whomp WNBA players. I'm just looking at total team basketball. I just don't see it, man. They're kicking that much ass. And it's hard to see anything other than another championship outcome. I mean, I'll put it like this. A'ja Wilson is averaging 19.7 points a game. She's averaging 9.3 rebounds a game. Assists are being led by Chelsea Gray, who's distributing. Candace Parker is leading in steals. Yes, the 38-year-old Candace Parker, at the very end of her career, looking for another championship, is leading this team in steals. And the minutes that she has, she averages about 8 rebounds a game. And it's not very many minutes. Like, she's doing an excellent job. A'ja Wilson's leading the league leading the team in blocks with 2.1 a game. I mean, the turnover margin, massive. Point margin. The Lady Aces are averaging like 18 points more a game than their competitors. As of right now, the point totals per game Aja Wilson's in the lead at 19.7, as we just touched on earlier. Jackie Young's at 19.1. Kelsey Plume is at 19.1. Chelsea Gray, 14.8, which is up from a week ago. Candace Parker, 9, slightly up. I mean, your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, your top 5 scorers on this team are all excellent players. And they're all playing out of their absolute mind. And, I mean, what can you do about that if you're the WNBA? Like, this team is just getting better. And it seems to be the only team that Mark Davis can lead to a win as an owner. But it is what it is, man. Like, it's the reality. Right now, their win percentage is 90.5%. They've won 90.5% of their games. They're on a 3-game win streak. They seem to go on streaks. These streaks seem to be better than 8 games at a time. And if they keep this up, I mean, it's going to be an easy road to the playoffs. Lady Aces are absolutely kicking ass. They're taking names. And they're not remorseful about it either. Adam, thank you so much for tuning in. Taryn Rodriguez, as always, being a great teammate, tuning in. Exactly 10 more days until Las Vegas Ramblers begin their NVA playoff title defense against the Inland Empire Matadors in the quarterfinals of the NVA playoffs at Long Beach College. Long Beach City College. Apologies, Taryn, a little bit dyslexic after a long practice. Yeah, Ramblers are also kicking ass. Listen, there's 2 defending champs in Vegas. 3. I should say 3. I apologize, because the Golden Knights will be underway sooner or later. They're in their off season. We'll have more to cover with them in the coming weeks as the draft, as those draft picks develop and we see more free agency. We'll have more to talk about in the coming weeks with the Golden Knights. But we have 3 defending teams in Vegas right now in their respective leagues. The National Volleyball Association is basically the host of the Ramblers, the Las Vegas Ramblers. They're doing an excellent job there, winning a lot of games. They're top of the American Conference. You have the Las Vegas Lady Aces, top of the Western Conference in the WNBA. And as you guys know, Vegas-born, or hashtag Vegas-born, and the Las Vegas Golden Knights are tops of the NHL right now. As a matter of fact, the traveling trophy is on its way. I mean, around the country, around Canada, because that's where majority of Vegas's players stem from. Seems to be a blast, man. That after party for the championship was also great. What's up, Larry? Yes, Coach Henderson has arrived. Apologies for being late. Thank you for being cool about me hopping on about a half hour late. Kind of explained it to the show. I'm a community man first, man. Coaches meeting happened, and I had to get here as soon as possible. I was actually able to cut out early. My head coach is awesome, man. I really enjoy working for him. It's a brand new high school. We can't use the high school facilities just yet because it's taking a while to construct it, so we're having to use other facilities. And we got to get it when we can. Time frames are time frames. But yeah, folks, the Las Vegas Lady Ace is 19-2. First in the Western Conference, and I don't know if anybody can touch him. Not even close. I don't think it's possible. Like, they're that good. And it's unbelievable. We're going to go to a quick break. I want to hear a couple drops from our teammates when we get back. We got a sponsor read, a new sponsor read from Larry B himself. On top of that, we got to talk about the Las Vegas Raiders and how pathetic they are right now. And it's so funny Larry says that. Boo Raiders. Hey, man. Dude. We have so much to talk about with them, and it's mainly about Josh Jacobs when we get back here on the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's happening, sports fans? Are you a fan of Southern California sports? Are you looking for a show hotter than a hot summer day in California? Then look no further than the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, where I talk about all things Southern California sports. That's right, all sports teams from Southern California. From the hard-hitting tackles of the NFL, to the killer crossovers and big three-pointers of the NBA and WNBA, to the grand slams of the MLB, to the bone-chilling goals of the NHL, and to the booming kicks of the MLS. The SoCal Supreme Sports Show has it all for you. Oh, and let us not forget about the college sports as well. So join me, Taryn Rodriguez, every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's going on, football fans? This is Muir Larry inviting you to join myself, Callum Reynolds, Mike Pat, and John Felipe for one of the most electrifying football shows you have ever heard. 3 and Out, right here at IE Sports Radio. Recap of the week before, a preview of what's to come, and of course, 3 hardcore head-to-head prime-time face-offs each week. You don't want to miss it.
Welcome back to the second half of our shortened show here on IE Sports Radio. This is the Sin City Sports Show presented by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your host, Cale Henderson, and we have a sponsor read tonight, guys. Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm Single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, Uncle Roger's nightmare, no sodium nitrate, low in sugar, and high in protein. This is some of the best jerky you can get your hands on, and for a limited time. You can win 4 tickets to see the Storm or 4 bags of jerky. All you have to do is visit planetjerky.net, place your order, follow Planet Jerky at Planet Jerky, and DM them that you bought your jerky from hearing this ad. You will be entered in the raffle that ends Tuesday, August 1st. Once again, huge shout out to our sponsor, Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet. The other sponsor read is our platform, our lovely platform, IE Sports Radio. For the last 9 years, IE Sports Radio has brought you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok to keep up with the latest in sports with our shows. Also, check out our website, iesportsradio.com, for sports news, the IE Sports Radio blog, our Hall of Fame Fans of the Month pages are dedicated to each podcast on the network, our IE Sports Radio community forum, and stop by the store and check out the latest merch. Thank you for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports. Larry B chimes in and says, Planet Jerky's the bomb. Taryn, I'm happy to be on, man. No, we do not have black turf. It's going to be regular turf, green. It's got a big grizzly emblem in the middle because we are the Standing Bear Grizzlies. Charcoal gray, Carolina blue, and navy is our color scheme. It's dope as hell. Like, those charcoal gray matted helmets are sick, dude. I can't tell you guys. It's dope. It's dope as hell. Super happy for the kids. They're really excited. Brand new school. And again, Carolina blue and charcoal gray. I mean, it's kind of a sexy combo. Go Grizzlies. Yeah, Larry, you're the man, myth, legend. Thank you so much for your support. On top of that, make sure you guys are tuning into our show every Tuesday evening, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Next Tuesday, 7:30 Pacific Standard Time, where we talk all things Vegas sports. And you guys can catch us anytime on the Spreaker podcast player, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Good Pods, CastBox, Deezer, Podcast Addict, and Podchaser. Make sure you guys are tuning in every Tuesday evening to get anything Vegas sports fix. And any of my opinions, honestly, they're great. but I'm not biased or anything. Uh, Adam Karnick says Josh Jacobs to the Bears now. Oh man. Well, I mean, actually, that would make a ton of sense. You guys need an elite running back, just like every team in the NFL that doesn't have Josh Jacobs. Um, yeah, that's a great segue, Adam. Thank you so much for the negativity, or at least pointing us in the negative direction. We're going to talk here about the Las Vegas Raiders, or we can call them the Las Vegas Trash Cans right now. Here's the reality, guys. It's a really talented team. We've talked about it, but I think this team is like they were 6 wins with Josh Jacobs last year, winning the rush title, right? And the reality is this: Josh Jacobs was so key to last year's team that nobody talks about. The offensive line was actually garbage. Okay, it's horrible. This guy had 1,300 yards, 1,300 of his 1,600 rushing yards last year to win the rushing title came after contact, which means your offensive line is shit. And your team and your player, your running back, was just a beast. He was a man possessed and he was on a contract year, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Adam, you're not here to help. Other than having the best drop at IE Sports Radio, you're not here to help, man. And don't even get me started. It's not like the Raiders are picking number 1 or something or have to trade out of it to be a better team. Bears. The Bears. Yeah, so no deal has been reached with Josh Jacobs. Everyone knows that. And if you've been listening to the show for the last year, I kind of talked about this with Larry B earlier in the week. I've been first on this whole situation from a while, right? I've been first on this situation for a while and had a lot of haters involved with it too. I straight up said I don't think Josh Jacobs is on the roster week 1 this season. Last year. Bishop chimes in. Should have paid him last year. You ain't lying, man. You're not lying. The price tag was lower. 100% Bishop. But here's the thing, man. Like, okay, I see it both ways. Josh Jacobs shouldn't play until he gets what he's owed. Because he's earned it. All right? Especially after last year and the garbage team he had to play on, okay? And all the crap that players like Josh Jacobs and Derek Carr had to deal with over the years, they deserve their money. I totally agree with it. What I don't agree with is the running back market. I see where people are coming from. From a business perspective, running backs just aren't as valuable because there's like 20 running backs out of each draft that at one point, as long as they're drafted in the right situation, can reach 1,000 yards. AFC West, friends. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. KC Sports. Oh my gosh. You guys get a godlike quarterback and now you're relevant. And now they just don't stop. I hope you're not as arrogant as the rest of your fan base because they're insufferable. Absolutely horrible. You seem cool. I will say the Raiders still own the series as a team as a whole, just not the last 10 years. Overall, also the Raiders still have more Super Bowls. Overall, Josh Jacobs, I just don't see him back. I don't think it happens. I don't see it. If I were him, I wouldn't come back. And Adam, I think, realistically, I think Josh Jacobs to the Bears is possible. Like, you guys have a ton of cash, and that kind of a move would make sense. One of the things that Vic Tafur, I think it was Vic Tafur, or it's Hondo Carpenter. Apologies, Hondo Carpenter. He stated that Josh Jacobs would be cut this week if a deal wasn't reached. The Raiders would be forced to do that because he ain't coming back. So why would they keep him on the roster? He would be cut. If he's cut, the Bears should pounce on him, man. It makes all the sense in the world. Why? I'll say it like this, and I give the Chiefs credit when credit's due. Their ability in that contract they did for Patrick Mahomes, world class, because they can convert any of that salary cap to cap space whenever they want. I could tell you the one position on that team that is sorely needed is an elite running back. I think Josh Jacobs could end up KC. That would be a total KC move. Take him from the Raiders, and Josh Jacobs would take less to be there because they're going to probably win another Super Bowl. At that time, in their like 100-year history, they'll finally tie the Raiders in Super Bowl wins. But I could totally see that because Brett Veach is smart. Brett Veach is very smart. Andy Reid's a genius. He's one of the top 5 coordinators of all time. Probably top 5 head coach at this point. Of course he would go to the Kansas City Chiefs after the Raiders blow this deal. And probably run for 200 yards on the Raiders too, because that defense is so ass. Yeah, Pacheco did fine, but here's the thing, man. He did fine because that offensive line was elite, dude. Like, nobody talks about that. Like, that was one of the most, even though you lost Tyreek Hill, Kansas City's offensive line was probably the most improved position group last year. They were just massive, man. They could push people around. They were a top 5 rated O-line. Years before that, they weren't. And you could tell, man. Other than that sprained ankle, like, Patrick was clean most of the year. They did a great job. I think, and the other thing, and I had said this maybe you weren't around last year when I was talking about it, the AFC West and the AFC or the NFL's worst nightmare is if the Chiefs figure out how to run the football. Or maybe instead of just trying to throw it deep to Tyreek all the time, they become more balanced and they run the football more. And look what happened, man. Good God. Good God. Terrence says, I'm just here for the comments. Yeah, whatever, Chargers fan. Listen, I'm a realist, man. If you guys have been listening to the show, I'm being real with this situation. I think the Raiders are playing for third place right now. And I can't quite say Josh Jacobs is for sure better than Adams. He was last year. But Adams had an amazing season considering. Especially with Josh McDaniels calling plays. McJokester he's probably on his way out at this point, because if Josh Jacobs doesn't come back, I don't see the Raiders won 6 games with him. There's no way they win more than 6 games without him. That's for sure. I do like Zamir White. I have great belief in him. I think he's going to be an excellent running back. I just asking him to step into the shoes and rush for 1,600 yards after Josh Jacobs left, nah. And listen, guys, the door isn't completely closed. I mean, there was Victor Tafer wrote that Josh Jacobs was legitimately sitting in the parking lot ready to walk in and sign the deal with Max Crosby. Like he was expecting the deal to get done and just didn't. Larry, you're right. Raiders lost Mack, Waller, Carr, and a damn good O-line, including Hudson and Jacobs, and Adams is almost out the door. And that's another one. I said this last year too. Or I said this earlier in the year when Derek Carr, I said I wasn't sure if they don't bring in Aaron Rodgers, I wasn't sure Adams be on the roster week 1. And if I were Adams, I wouldn't blame him if he wanted to move on. What are the Raiders doing for him? They promised him a win-now situation. They promised him to be a contender. We're not a contender. We're not even close. The Raiders aren't even close to being a contender. Not even close. It's just bad, man. So what's going to happen is the Raiders are probably going to underperform, even with some of the skill position talent they have, because their defense is not quite improved yet. Yes, they added to it, but it's not like they're going to, be light years better. You're in a really, dude, this division's tough, dude. You say whatever you want about last year's debacle and how bad the Broncos played and how, Russell Wilson didn't really get on the horse and ride like he said. The reality is the Raiders are playing for third place. The Chiefs are better. The Chargers are better. There's the Raiders in third place probably. And then there's still Denver Broncos who could get better because Sean Payton's a great coach. He's a Hall of Fame coach. I don't know. It's tough being a Raiders fan right now, guys. And if I were you, I would start getting used to the idea of having a new coach in 2024. Because unless that guy has a winning season, I don't know how Mark Davis stays with him. I really don't. Unless getting rid of Carr and showing some sort of build plan keeps him in place. If you have 2 losing seasons in a row and you're losing close games, that means you're just not a very good coach. Or your coaching staff just isn't very good. And maybe it's okay to admit that you're just a better coordinator under the greatest coach we've ever seen. Walk the sideline. It is what it is. You guys know what it is. Tune in every Tuesday evening, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Next week at 7:30 Pacific Standard Time for another short show. That should be the last week this happens. This is the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your host, Cale Henderson. And as always, folks, love, peace, and hair grease.